Hello, everyone, and welcome to Give Me Some Good News, the best way to start your day in destination marketing. I am your host, joined with a wonderful friend of mine who is doing some really cool stuff and someone who's a repeat guest to our podcast, but is in a bit of a new situation here. Emily, welcome back to Give Me Some Good News.
Hey, Caleb, welcome and thank you. I'm so glad to be back here. And yeah, I mean, up to new things is definitely under an understatement.
Yeah, I know you've, wow. So you've gone from being a mover and a shaker on the DMO side to an entrepreneur who is doing one of my favorite things in the world, which is solving problems for destinations. So,
Oh yeah.
man, t tell me like what you've been up to, like where the whole career arc is just it's going on, it's taken off, and let's hear about it.
Yeah, I love to find a way to increase the drama. I don't know if anyone's seen the Odyssey recently, but man, what an epic story. And I mean, I feel like it's um, I keep moving into different spaces that I kind of don't expect. And, here we are. But yeah, I mean, a lot has really changed. I was not even at the DMO about 2, 3 months ago. Actually, yeah, I'm 2 months in to founding Zertura, which is an AI visibility and perception solution for destination marketing organizations, mainly because when I was previously at my DMO for 11 years, the last thing I was doing was really just diving really deep into the research, really deep into the data, still having my CMO hat on, and just finding a lot of things that I wanted to see solved. And just kept going, kept nerding out, kept realizing, with all of the changes happening right now in the world with AI and our funding getting scrutinized constantly. I mean, it's happening even more and at a faster rate that I've had conversations about, and just finding the solution of what can we do to really advocate for ourselves and really show that we're community partners and we're really here to steward the destination forward. And the powers in the data and the powers in knowing how to leverage that data so that you can communicate it to your partners and to your board. And um, you know, from the AI stage, a lot of what I started realizing was the importance of top of funnel brand awareness, getting cut constantly, and trying to find a quantitative way to measure it. And I couldn't really find an industry standard that does that. As especially like with AI visibility. I mean, there's so many AI visibility types of platforms out there, but nothing that I've really seen specifically aimed at a DMO's entire ecosystem of partners, hoteliers, restaurants. How are we tracking that? And granted, my favorite type of data is actually the qualitative kind, where you get this amazing survey of results. We get it probably once a year, once a quarter after a campaign, but the consideration set is changing every day now. It used to be we know who we are, we got our consideration set, and now with AI just shifting the way we do everything, it's impossible to just get that so fast. And it's really where my head went into just defining how can we track this at a really fast pace? How can we use it to inform our content strategy? How can we use it to communicate to our boards and to our partners? And all of that came together, and I started creating a methodology for how to score this and how to score where DMOs are and where their partners are. How can I help them? And over time, realizing this is extremely scalable. This is something that I really believe many DMOs need to keep pace with how quickly this stuff is changing. And we're such lean teams, and I think because we're so lean, it's so hard to just spend time doing this nerdy work. And that's where I came in. And that's when I started doing this and realized, oh my gosh, I definitely want to share this with my peers in my industry. And I mean, that's the foundation of why I started what I'm doing. And it's
Yeah.
been met with amazing positivity. It makes me feel so good knowing that this is something that is needed. And it's a great conversation to have right now.
Yeah, it really is. And you struck a chord. I mean, AI visibility is, I think, something that every destination marketer is trying to crack right now, right? Like we don't typically have the budgets that a lot of, other brands do, a lot of consumer products. And just generally speaking, I mean, you know this better than anyone, but like our ROAS and our ROI is definitely hard to track in a lot of cases. And so I think whenever you get in front of a problem like this with a solution that is scalable, that is teachable, that is something that people can actually implement, it clearly struck a chord with the industry, right? Like it's been received with open arms. So kudos to you for starting this. And I just think, when we're looking at the future of destination marketing, we have to be agile. And this is the good news podcast, so I don't want to go down any dark rabbit holes, but I will say, like, the good side of this, and I had Mitch Mitchum on last week when we were talking about AI visibility and kind of like, embracing AI as an organization. Um, the good news side of this is as we continue to be nimble and as we continue to be scrappy and as we continue to find ways to be visible, we will become better organizations. And I think even your role at Visit Corpus Christi, it was the chief innovation officer, like that was
Yeah.
kind of a good point to be like, hey, we need to start changing as an industry.
Oh yeah. And I will say, I mean, there's a lot to be optimistic about in this time. And I know you can easily go down a doom and gloom path, but this is the story of good news. And I think like there, there's this peer-reviewed study that I recently saw that came out from an academic team. Zero vendors, nothing in there that makes it biased, but they generated 6,400 destination recommendations across 216 different visitor profiles. And this is also worldwide. And Japan showed up for 89% of the ChatGPT profiles.
Wow.
But look at what they found. How often a destination got recommended correlated only weakly and not significantly with that destination's actual measured tourism competitiveness. So the authors put it better than I could. They said that these systems are not neutral fillers. They're active amplifiers of existing imbalances. So I think our industry right now is reading that a little backwards because if the short list doesn't track competitiveness, the short list it's not a fortress. It's not like, it's not keeping you from doing amazing things. And I think like the budget, it doesn't build those positions, it doesn't defend it. And like it means that the ranking that you get with this AI visibility, it's not earned on merit, it's ranking in a like with room in there.
Hmm.
And the room is a thing our industry has had for at least 20 years. I mean, this is what we do. And I think like this is the part I find really exciting because an AI answer, it can get assembled out of whatever specific retrievable material exists about the destination or about the place. It is the raw ingredient. So when a system gets asked where to go for a long fall weekend with teenagers who hate hiking, for example, it has to reach for something that's super concrete or a particular stretch of water, a festival that's named like in a named month. Like these are the things that we as destinations have written about for years and years. There is no generic destination copy for it to reach for. It's going to reach for those promising, unforgettable experiences, those hidden gems. That's something for everyone. And it's the DMOs that have only been that reputable source that's really written for these things. I've written those things when I was doing content. This is what I wrote about. I wanted to find what is the niche thing that people want to read or go, oh, that's the off the beaten path thing. That's what these AI LLMs are surfacing. And so it's what's changing is that the system or all these systems are now giving you that, which is giving you also a level playing field for the little guys and for the big
Yeah.
guys. We are all on like an even playing field right now. And I think that is such great news for destinations that may not have had that opportunity in the past. Reach used to be purchasable, and now it's
Right.
not again. So I think, the sea of sameness has technically has bothered me my entire career of,
Same.
you hear that word all the time. But now we're measuring something so much different. We're measuring authenticity, what is making you different? How are you able to really define yourself in the most unique way possible? Um, I just think this is such a cool opportunity for us right now, especially for storytelling. I think storytelling is going to be so much more important than it has ever been, which
Yeah.
is news to me.
No, it's great news. And I think the role of the destination marketer is changing right before our eyes, right? Like I think there was a time where, I come from a small DMO, any listeners would know, that, um, where being scrappy paid off because we knew, like, Discover Jackson County, we didn't have the budget to go up against Explore Asheville. So there was a time where being scrappy was the name of the game. And I think we're coming back to that, right? Like we can't buy ourselves out of this. There right now, as far as I know, it's been flirted with that there might be some kind of advertising platform on different AI tools. I haven't seen that roll out yet. And I also think that it might not be always in the LLM's best interest to roll something out like that. But again, I don't own an AI company, right? I just do a little podcast. And so who knows what's coming down the pike. But those fundamental truths still exist. The fact that if you are authentic about your destination, if you're scrappy. And I think a lot of people, even if you run a big DMO where maybe you were just moving line items and budgets for big media spends and big activations, now it might be a great time to get back to basics to kind of reintroduce yourself to, that scrappiness that really made those destinations shine in the first place.
Oh yeah. Especially as teams continue to get leaner and, our budget's getting scrutinized. And I do think there are so many DMOs that have many of their staff wearing multiple hats. And if anything, I feel like it's consistently increasing. You have now we're stewards of the destination. Now we have to reach out for our residents. Now we are also the media buyers. We're the media planners. We're the strategic guidance for our entire ecosystem. We host meetings. We report to
Yeah.
boards. We do our budgets. It's so much. And I think by nature, this industry is scrappy. And it's not a bad thing to do. I mean, I've seen, this type of the work ethic that each of us have has really contributed to just us being like Swiss Army knives. Like you could I think I'm preaching to the choir that anyone that works in this industry could easily be their own entrepreneur in pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Do they want to do it? Probably, I don't know, maybe. Like, I mean,
You can tell
nice.
me in a few months. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I mean is we are so used to being scrappy. And I think it's just a superpower that this industry has. It's fantastic to be part of it. And it makes it easier to be innovative in this time because you have to. We have to innovate. We have to change the way we've always done things. And I mean, this is just the time that it's going a little faster than we're used to. And so those that are typically pretty innovative are like, oh, I have to move a little faster than I wanted to. Like, not even 2 months ago, things I were doing are irrelevant now. Or
Yeah.
maybe I thought I was doing a certain thing correctly and now I don't have to. For example, Google just released an article talking about what they actually look for in being getting cited or for a website to get cited through LLM platforms through Google. And the two things that like stood out to me that I've heard is some DMOs are thinking, oh my gosh, I have to put so much emphasis on an FAQ, so much emphasis on my schema markup, so much emphasis on the LLM.txt file to go at the top of my website. Guess what? A lot of those things are not nearly as important as we thought.
Yeah.
Kind of good news, but kind of like, oh, like I was spending so much time doing all these things
So
and now
much
it
time in
changed on
WordPress.
me.
Yeah.
It changed on me again. But like, you got to think about like the way LLMs are moving and the way that they are ranking authority is all based on your opinion and distinctiveness of your destination in the most human way possible. That's
Yeah.
good. No, we don't have to write for robots. I mean, there's going to be some, granted, yes, we have to do some stuff, but it's not nearly as important as we had originally freaked out about. Um, and that's good to know. And like the LLM text, like they ran tons of studies on websites that have the LLM.txt file and those that don't. And for anyone even asking, what the hell are you talking about, Emily? These are just like these little like text files that they said you had to have for the robots to crawl your website easier, which it does let it crawl easier. So if you have it on your website already, just leave it there. It's not going to change anything, but you don't need it. It didn't do any difference on those websites. Good, yay. We're slowly getting to that point of LLMs just reading it like how we would want a human to read our stuff.
Yeah, and the best part about this that I think a lot of destination marketers are missing out on, I think a lot of times we're thinking about, again, the bad side of this, where it's like, oh, we're losing visibility, we're losing website traffic. But the way I view it is you're getting destination loyalists. Like you're getting a curated group of visitors who have interest in the thing that your destination represents, that have assets that are relevant to your family and to your travel partner, that are best aligned with you and your, even to some extent, your values and your beliefs. And I think a lot of times that kind of gets lost, right? Like we look at, and I'm, as much as I love bringing the good news and having a good news podcast, like guys, I get stuck in this too. Like I get paralysis analysis. Like I hit my head against the desk, like wondering where I start. But I think like a lot of times we need to understand that there is an upside to this level of change in our industry. Change always produces, um, I would say it produces a stronger workforce. I think change
Yeah.
gives us the ability to be more dynamic as professionals. And why not throw on that other hat, right? As a CEO of, oh, I'm also an AI professional, right? And I think, but at the end of the day, in a good scenario, in the best world scenario, that demand is still there. And even whether it's being delivered through your AI or whether it's being delivered through your website, you're still getting, I feel like you're getting more of a loyalist crowd that aligns better with your destination. And that's going to, in my opinion, that's going to equal more repeat visitation, right? And it's just going to give you a better fan base overall.
Agree, because you're giving the potential visitor exactly what they're looking for. And I think that's going to equate to just more spend in market,
Yeah.
more repeatability. They're going to see the things that they really say, oh my gosh, this really speaks to me. I couldn't agree more with that statement. And I think when it comes to content opportunities, when those are planning their content structure or how to write things out, it's it's time for the weirdos to kind of shine. Like
Yeah.
put the weirdo content out there.
Why
Um,
not?
if you know like a really unique story that's happening in your community, sweet, write it because
Yeah.
you never know someone in the US of A is going to come to your destination or somebody from, a different country if that's important to your destination. So I think this is just more opportunity to fill the holes, fill the gaps, and keeping your content from being generic. And isn't that the point? Don't we want
Yeah.
to have a distinctive brand? This is just more opportunity to amplify that.
Yeah, it really is. Anywhere USA is dead. I actually kind of like this new transition we're in of like if your agency's giving you work that looks the same and generic, if the content you're creating based on, what you think you should be creating versus what you actually need to be creating to stay competitive, I think we can just like pour one out for the sea of sameness. I think we're in a new era. Like we're moving towards something more exciting, more curated, and more relevant to
Yeah.
people visiting your destination. So I kind of just want to unpack, Zertura a little bit.
Okay, in normal words, I'll try normal words. We ask AI systems the same questions that your visitors ask. So not just like tell me about Corpus Christi or nobody types things like that. We put real prompts like where should a family of four go on the Texas coast in October? Um, for discoverability purposes. So or like best walkable beach city for a long weekend. We ask a lot of those questions for each destination. We ask up to 100 questions per destination, pulled from a library of more than 20,000 verified travel intent question templates that we refresh monthly on what are these actual prompts being asked. And then we ask those questions up to 100 per destination across 6 AI systems. So ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Grok, and Google's AI overviews. Named, not counted. If somebody tells you they monitor AI, ask them which ones, and that's a fair
Hmm.
question. And it should have an easy answer. But then we read every answer that comes back, and then we grade four different things. Did you show up at all? Was what they said about you accurate? Did you sound like anywhere else? And how did they talk about you? What's the sentiment? So that becomes a score. And I've called it the Davy score, which stands for
Davey.
Davy, which stands for Destination AI Visibility Index. DMOs don't currently have an indexed score. I've seen an index score for airlines and hotels, but not specifically for a DMO and its entire ecosystem from holistic questions that talk about its brand. And then the other half of the company is the part that actually fixes it, or at least gives you signals on where the gaps are and why. Because a score that just tells you you're losing or maybe not doing so hot is like a diagnosis with no medicine. You want to know, okay, thank you for that score. Now what? So, Davy, referring to Davy, Davy is my AI generated chatbot that works through the platform. And you can go to it right now at Zertura.com to play with Davy, who walks you through your score, walks you through exactly the data that is being pulled. So, these questions that we ask for each destination is also segmented not only by discoverability, travel intent, accuracy and recency and distinctiveness, it's also pulling where in the journey is that visitor? Are they just looking for a discoverable trip? Are they actually about to go in market? Are they already in market? Is the visitor experience where we want it to be? And so all of these things get factored in. And aside from the Davy score, which is the one score you do get, there's multiple other pieces to this. And the main one that I love is that all DMOs get up to 100 of their partners added into this ecosystem so they can each individually get their own scorecard on where they are in their AI visibility, how they can improve. And we walk it with them through consulting of, hey, your Google business page is outdated. And because of that, this is what's happening. Let's fix it up. Or your attraction just created this brand new extra piece, but it's not even on your Wikipedia because you probably forgot about your Wikipedia 5 years ago. And because it's not on Wikipedia, it's not surfacing. And you're putting how much money into your marketing campaign about it, and it's not surfacing on LLMs. These are the kind of gaps that are identified through Zertura. And then the second piece on the Davy score is it's also taking into account your website. Where in your content is there a gap with what AI is saying about you versus what you're writing about? Is there a content gap to fill? If you have a brand pillar on seafood culinary, but it's not being surfaced, there's a content opportunity. Let's get you going with these are the content pieces that you can really focus on. And just increase your AI visibility. And so with this, we measure it every single month. There are some that measure daily, there's some that measure weekly. I measure monthly on purpose, and it's because AI, when answering a question, it is non-deterministic, meaning when an AI responds, it's going to respond differently every single time. That is truth. And it's difficult. Well, how do you measure it? You measure the variance, you don't measure the response.
Hmm.
So when you're responding or getting all these responses, the reason we ask the same question, we ask the same question over and over and over and over until we get a 95% confidence rate in the variance on this is the signal it's leaning towards. And so we can be able to tell you that's where the signal is. Let's see if we can move it to get you scored next month to see where the needle moves. I could score weekly. I just don't believe in it. And I think that's the one piece that sets me apart from a couple of other visibility platforms I've seen in the space. But monthly is important to me. And I think being able to tell that story of you are actually moving the needle, and not only the DMO is moving the needle, but your entire ecosystem is getting better and better. And it's just such an easy win for the DMO to provide to their partners on every single month. We're helping you by telling you exactly where you are in your business, where things are, and they don't even have to move a finger. We deploy the emails, we work on the consulting, and if they want to go a step further, we even offer a co-op program to help do the technical work on their behalf. So a restaurant owner is not going to log into their WordPress or, and upload all the things because we told them a couple of things on you should do a piece on this, and why don't you bring in a photographer here? They're not going to want to do any of that. So what we'll do is we'll provide consulting for them, help them get their Google business page updated or their website updated, refresh that content, but also give a heads up to the DMO on, hey, I know that you're working on your next content strategy in the quarter. Here are some easy wins that your partners can get some love with. And it helps them prioritize where they're putting their content because, again, we are lean teams. It's hard to keep an eye on everyone all the time. And I've heard many times that as a DMO, we really try hard to make our partners feel seen and valued. As many emails as we send out to them, as many things as we invite them to, and they don't show up. This is one of those pieces where I'd hope can fill a gap that they may be asking about.
Yeah, or even before they ask. I think that's
Yeah,
important. It's like you're showing it's another value add for the DMO being like, hey, we're helping y'all with like AI visibility. We're thinking ahead. We're future proofing you as our partners. I think that's just an amazing direction to move into. And I think, again, it's bad. One of my favorite, and I think I talked about this on stage last week. We were at DI and I said, I'm in the point in my career now to where like the people I look up to and the people I get the most value from like mentorship as entrepreneurs, and not necessarily because I think maybe one day I want to be one. It's because the mindset of here is a problem and here is a solution, and just all you got to do is bridge that gap between how you get there is
yeah.
fascinating to me. Like it's easier said than done. And it's simple, but it's not easy, right? Like
Oh,
I'm sure you've been working a ridiculous amount of hours getting this up and running.
I have never worked harder in my life. I
That
am
does not
working
surprise
around
me.
the clock. It is, but I'm so I'm such a nerd about it. So I think that's what's fueling me. Um, yeah, the amount of coffee I've drank, like it's ridiculous. But I mean, like, I'm passionate about this because when I was in the CMO seat, I was constantly defending the budget,
Yeah.
especially top of funnel marketing. It's the first thing that gets cut in a budget. It is.
Yep.
Um, when we get scared as DMOs, when we see our budget getting cut, the biggest thing we want to do is a short-term fix, which means move the budget down to conversion metrics so that our numbers look big and inflated or whatever. It's good to do sometimes, but if you cut that head off long enough, you're going to really screw yourself over in the next couple of years. Um, and I think this is the worst time to do that. And I've quoted this study many times. I think it was the Sojourn study that surveyed over 300 destinations, saying that the first thing that they like it was like 30% of DMOs have cut the importance of brand awareness at the same time that visibility and discovery is completely changing under our feet. It is the worst time.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like this is the opposite. You got to go opposite right now. But it's hard to do that because your board's not gonna like you would have to like scream it to your board over and over and over for them to understand. And even then, I mean, we've got stubborn, government leaders on our board that makes
Yeah.
it just very difficult to measure. So for me, putting a quantitative number to your brand lift or brand awareness is so important and keeping it simple because
Yeah.
no one's going to read through it. And I honestly was tired of going through the 5 million dashboards that I have. And even vendors will tell you that they get frustrated with DMOs not even logging in and then saying it doesn't work. Like,
Yep.
like, and I've shamelessly been one of those people where I don't log into my really expensive dashboard unless I need it for a board report. Um, and where does the data live then? So I created a platform anyway, but on the platform, on that very first page, there's an overview that just says, click this to get the full report in board language in third person, explaining the lift. You can even just copy the text because I get it. I know CEOs are busy. I know executive leaders are busy. Just grab it and use it. And if you want to dive deep and nerd out with me, you have the platform to do that. Um, so I think that's the connection I really am happy about in working with this is, I want it to be spoken in the way that makes the most sense for us.
Yeah.
And with consideration set moving almost every single day now, that equates to how are we doing our brand lift studies? Um, brand lift studies, which my again one of my favorite studies. We were going to be working with Longwoods International on our brand lift study. Shout out Longwoods. I love the stuff that they bring out. And those studies come out, we do it once a quarter, once a year. But how are we putting our finger on the pulse to make sure that at the end, that study is going to show that we improved, that we did our job? It used to be use the signal of the website impressions
Yeah.
or use the signal of our agency and how these media impressions are doing. They're still very important, but there's a huge chunk that's invisible now. And that huge chunk is what I'm trying to measure.
Beautiful. And that right there is some good news. So, I always like to land the plane by asking, Emily, it can be personal, it can be professional. It could be that. Like, what is some good news in your world, my friend?
That karaoke party was so bomb last
Yeah,
week.
we didn't even talk
That's
about
my good
that. Oh
news.
my gosh, y'all. So if for the listeners who weren't at DI, we co-hosted me and Emily and Greg from Driven Authentic Branding Solutions and Jess from Vector. We co-hosted a karaoke party. Like it was for the podcast. It's something that I wanted to do with some friends, and it was pretty cool. I think we had a good time. What do you think?
We closed it down.
Yeah, we did. It was awesome. So, we love you guys. Thanks for everyone who came to the karaoke party. God, that's great news. Yeah, I just
That
breezed
was
right
really
by
good.
that.
It
Yeah,
felt so good. Zertura's very first sponsored event, and what better way to do it than through a karaoke party, closing it down after, and down the street from one of the main partner parties, which I loved. Very strategic of Greg Starr, shout out.
that's
So
our
I
guy.
think I think next year this needs to become an annual thing. We just shut it down with some karaoke.
It will.
Um, but yeah, I'm still reminiscing over last week. DI was incredible. It was man, I love DI. It's like a big class reunion every year, and I feel this year there was just so much more. I don't know. It just felt really magical this year. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
felt it. Felt great.
absolutely. Well, Emily, thank you so much for coming on the podcast again, for being our second ever repeat guest.
Woo!
So happy to have you. I'm so happy to have you as a friend and colleague and someone I've looked up to throughout my time in this industry. If people want to find you or learn more about you, where can they do so?
Yes, please follow me on LinkedIn. I also am very opinionated on my Substack. I would love for you to follow it. It is Emily C, as in cat, zertucci.substack.com, where I bring up all the data, all the fun stuff about DMOs. I do my best not to be a salesy, annoying person on it. It's so much fun to just have research and have a long way of talking about things. And then, of course, Zertura.com, Zertura.com, just to see what Zertura is all about. And
Yeah.
maybe it's something that you'd want to check out.
Yeah. And chat with Davey. He's adorable.
And chat with Davey.
Davey's literally the best. And as always, you guys can find us on LinkedIn at Give Me Some Good News. And if you want to be on the show, just email me. It's good news, the number 4 tourism at gmail.com. And this has been some good news.